The morning of November 22, 1963, dawned crisp and bright over Dallas, Texas. It was a Friday, and the city hummed with anticipation. The President of the United States, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, was visiting, his motorcade scheduled to pass through downtown. Kennedy was young, charismatic, and to many Americans, he embodied a new era, an age of hope, progress, and possibility. Crowds began to gather along the parade route, waving flags, eager for a glimpse of the man who seemed to carry the nation's future in his smile. Shortly after 11:30 a.m., Air Force One touched down at Love Field. The president emerged from the plane, accompanied by his wife Jacqueline, radiant in her pink suit and pillbox hat. They greeted officials, shook hands, and climbed into an open-top 1961 Lincoln Continental limousine. Riding with them was Texas Governor John Connally and his wife Nellie. Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson followed in another car. Secret Service agents perched at the edges of the motorcade, scanning the crowd, but the mood felt festive, almost relaxed. As the motorcade wound its way through Dallas, cheers erupted from sidewalks, school children waved, office workers leaned from windows. At 12:30 p.m., the procession turned onto Elm Street and entered Dealey Plaza. The limousine rolled slowly past the Texas School Book Depository, a 7-story red brick building that loomed over the plaza. The president's car was moving at about 11 miles per hour. Jackie Kennedy leaned close to her husband, smiling as Nellie Connally remarked, "Mr. President, you can't say Dallas doesn't love you." A moment later, the world changed forever. At 12:30, the sharp crack of a rifle echoed across the plaza. Some thought it was fireworks. Kennedy's hands moved to his throat as if struck. Another shot rang out. Governor Connally collapsed, hit in the back, blood spreading across his suit. Then came the fatal third shot. The bullet struck Kennedy's head with devastating force. A spray of blood and bone erupted, and Jackie Kennedy, in horror, scrambled onto the back of the limousine, reaching instinctively as if to hold her husband together. Secret Service agent Clint Hill leapt onto the car, pushing her back into her seat, shielding her. The limousine accelerated, tires screeching, as chaos erupted in Dealey Plaza. People screamed, ducked, fell to the ground. Some ran toward the grassy knoll. Others pointed to the book depository. Within seconds, the jubilant crowd had transformed into a scene of panic and disbelief. At 12:38 p.m., the president's car screeched into Parkland Memorial Hospital. Doctors and nurses rushed to the emergency bay. Kennedy was carried inside, blood staining his clothes, his face ashen. For 30 minutes, doctors tried desperately to save him. At 1 p.m., John F. Kennedy was pronounced dead. The announcement spread across the hospital halls like a shockwave. Jackie, her pink suit now soaked with blood, refused to change clothes. "I want them to see what they've done," she whispered. Back at Dealey Plaza, investigators swarmed the book depository. On the 6th floor, they discovered a rifle perched near a window overlooking the motorcade's path, surrounded by spent shell casings. Within hours, police arrested a man named Lee Harvey Oswald, a 24-year-old former Marine with ties to pro-Cuban activism. He was charged with the president's murder. But the story did not end there. 2 days later, as Oswald was being transferred through the Dallas Police Headquarters basement, a nightclub owner named Jack Ruby stepped forward and fired a single shot into his abdomen. Live television cameras captured the moment. Oswald collapsed, gasping, and was rushed to the very same Parkland hospital where Kennedy had died. There, he too was pronounced dead. The nation was left stunned, shaken, and adrift. Millions had witnessed the tragedy unfold on television. Millions more stared at newspapers bearing the haunting image of Kennedy's final moments. The young president was gone, his promise unfulfilled, and the circumstances surrounding his death only deepened the wound. The Warren Commission, established by President Lyndon Johnson, concluded in 1964 that Lee Harvey Oswald had acted alone. But questions lingered, and suspicion grew. If Oswald acted alone, why had he been silenced so quickly by Jack Ruby? Why did witnesses claim they heard shots from the grassy knoll? Why did so many details remain murky? Conspiracy theories flourished. Some pointed to the mafia, enraged by the Kennedy administration's crackdown on organized crime. Others suspected Cuban involvement, retaliation for the failed Bay of Pigs invasion. Still others believed elements within the CIA or the military had orchestrated the killing, dissatisfied with Kennedy's handling of the Cold War. For decades, the debate raged: was Kennedy's assassination the work of a lone gunman, or the ultimate political conspiracy? Beyond the theories, the emotional impact was undeniable. Kennedy's death marked the end of an age of innocence. To many Americans, the optimism of the early 1960s shattered that afternoon in Dallas. The country entered a darker, more turbulent era, marked by Vietnam, civil rights struggles, and political assassinations that followed. The image of Jackie Kennedy, climbing over the limousine's back seat in desperation, became a symbol of lost hope. The Zapruder film, shot by a bystander named Abraham Zapruder on his home movie camera, captured the assassination in harrowing detail. For years, it was the most studied piece of film in history, dissected frame by frame, as if it might reveal the hidden truth of what really happened in Dealey Plaza. Even now, it remains etched into the collective memory, a reminder that in a single instant, history can pivot. The assassination of John F. Kennedy was more than the death of a president. It was the shattering of a national dream, the moment when America realized that even its brightest hopes could be extinguished in broad daylight, live on camera, before the eyes of the world. That day in Dallas, time itself seemed to split: before the shots, an America full of promise; after the shots, an America shadowed by doubt, suspicion, and grief.